a yard, raise the youth and live okay. But then the bankers get greedy, flip up the game. Gold standard mash up, it never be the same. Boom economy, government never want wait. Them spend pan borrowed money, drop the interest rate. Central bank printing, money start lose weight. Them convincing no bill would I ever have to get paid. Me believe it when me see it. Me sure me not go miss it. It make me want live it, but only if it really legit. No recession, no cry. No recession, no cry. Change up the definition. So slide. No recession, no cry. Life did sweet, people get rich, time feel nice. Living big pandit, not thinking about the price. No turning back, default and knock pound we gate. But the genie up, too late feel lock that fate. 50 years past, need big job just to survive. Politicians still a chat like all things alive. Job market sinking, but them say it alright. Them twist up the data, hide the truth out of sight. Me believe it when me see it. Me sure me not go miss it. It make me want live it, but only if it really legit. No recession, no cry. No recession, no cry. Change up the definition. So slide. No recession, no cry. You them last, can't build no family. Population drop, this your madness up your tragedy. The rich invest in asset, poor man stuck on rent. Leaders push them agenda, but no ask where the money went. Industry turn goes down, Alfie carbon name. Yet earth still a spin while people play the blame game. Me believe it when me see it. Numbers don't match after the fact, them fix reports and cover tracks. Camel finance me real brother, one we truly never deserve. Bless up him if we guide the future we a try preserve. No recession, no lie, Camel Crew no need to try. Always ahead of the game, no concessions till we die.
Hello. All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and Gizmo just keeps getting better with the AI songs, to be honest. So I'm going to link this in the chat real quick. So if anyone wants to go and show him some love, please do so. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Yeah, he just keeps banging out more tunes and they just keep getting better. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully I can see a bunch of you enjoyed that, so that's really good. What else? Well, welcome to the CPI live stream. What else have we got going on? Hang on, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's turn the chat on. That would be a start, wouldn't it? Okay, there's the chat. And we don't need this anymore because we already shared it. We don't need this anymore. You already heard me. Yeah, we'll hang here for a moment. So yeah, this is the CPI live stream. We are going to hang out for a bit. We're going to quickly recap the idea, and then we're just going to kind of kill some time, look at some charts, wait to see what the data says, and we'll take it from there. Same as normal, really. So thank you all for being here. I can see loads of members have shown up too, so that's really cool. And yeah, without wasting any more time, let's dig into this. So I want to just quickly outline the idea, which I'm sure you're all familiar with by now, just in case anyone is not though. anything you do to the MT rate of change shows up in the CPI with a lag. Okay, after the C19 round, we had this violent snapback and we slipped all the way into negative territory. So therefore, I postulate that we're going to get the same thing in the inflation data, just with a little bit of a lag. I still maintain we're in a strong disinflationary trend, and ultimately we're heading for a couple of months of deflation. And when we go to the trueflation, we can see that's kind of true, right? We're still in a disinflationary trend, still lower lows, still lower highs, nowhere close to this 3 point something% high, 3.1-ish. Okay, so yes, there's going to be counter trend wobbles, nothing moves in straight lines, but ultimately, I believe this is going to continue, and we're going to continue to move lower before ultimately slipping into a couple of months of asset price deflation later in life, perhaps mid-2026. So that's the base case. Now, as I just said, nothing moves in straight lines. There are often counter trend wobbles in here. This was a period of, I don't know, nearly 6 months, let's say, of counter trend wobble. And really, this is not far off that, is it? So I wouldn't be surprised if, because we're using lagging metrics, some of this comes out in today's print. We saw that last month as well. And we said that 1, 2, even 3 semi-sticky prints would be reasonable. Before then, we can continue the disinflationary trend, and this stuff at the hard right edge can start to show up in the actual inflation data. Even Trueflation are talking about this, right? That the CPI is coming out today. Their forecast is 2.8, but the problem is weeks of delay and estimated data that the BLS is using. So, I mean, are we going to see a hot or perceived hot or sticky print today? I would think it's kind of reasonable, especially based on this uptrend that we've had, or the counter trend fade that we can say we've had, right? And that only makes sense, but don't do what most people do, which is react to the tape on the day. Okay, it's the bigger macro trend that's important, and that is still disinflationary. So again, 1 or 2 wobbly prints based on the lagging data, and then we should be able to go back to seeing some cold back-to-back prints again as we start to head closer and closer to deflation. So I think for a while people had a problem with this idea. I don't really believe that's the case anymore, to be completely honest with you. I think people are pretty sold on how powerful this trend has been. We'll do what we always do at 1:30, which is we'll get the results live and we'll copy and paste it in here and post it. We'll review it. We'll look at the initial market reaction, and then I'll love you and leave you as we go about our day. Now, I did want to, before I hop into the comments or the chat and check out what's going on in there, I did want to quickly run through what the cycles suggest, because as always, right, cycles are in control, everything else is narrative. So we can spin these prints, whether they're hot, inline, or cold, any way we want, depending on what the cycles say. Okay, but right now, we're pretty early in the cycle. Okay, I'm going to use this low, even though the indicator hasn't picked it. We're around that half cycle low neighborhood, aren't we? So we could get a day or two of flush and shake out, maybe back into this trendline support for the stock market, and then I expect us to continue to move higher. So that's what the cycles say for the stock market. For gold, I believe we left behind a daily cycle low a mere few days ago. This is probably the retest, and then I think this is probably going to lead to higher prices. That's what the cycles suggest. So regardless of what the CPI print says, I think we could probably expect a couple of days of shakeout for the stocks, followed by higher. And for the gold market, I think we're probably pretty much done on this pullback and should be looking for higher prices. Again, chop games and volatility are always expected and normal during CPI and inflation and FOMC and those types of major market moving events. So could this shake out one way or the other before revealing the true direction? Yes, of course it could. That's why I don't tend to trade CPI days personally. But the base case is still that is the cycle low. We're early in the cycle, the daily cycle that is, and we're probably going to be resolving higher by the end of this week, if not early next week. Excuse me. And then the other thing is Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin I'm less confident about. On the one hand, we've got a cycle low and we got a breakout, but that wick is quite big and top heavy. And the other thing is, I know some people are looking at this as a longer cycle, day 76, followed by a shorter cycle, day 42-ish, okay? And then the two of them average out or harmonize or mean revert, whatever you want to call it, and bring the average back to 60 days. So maybe that's what we got, but I don't actually like this idea for 2 reasons. Number one, this was a shorter cycle that was then harmonized by a longer cycle, bringing the average back to normal. And number two, because of that reason, it makes me think that we are going to end up just arcing into the timing window here I don't really see why we need to have a day 42 cycle low here. We have got a breakout. It is confirmed, but obviously a breakout daily close, 1 candle. Okay, this is 2 and 3. If today comes back down, it invalidates this as the cycle low setup, and the indicator will change this from high confluence the moment it comes back below the trend line to low confidence, and we'll start to target a lower low into the timing window. And then this will look much more like a perfect day 60 cycle, won't it? And everything will be right with the world, in my humble opinion. So I would not at all be surprised if that's what we get. Now, this setup becomes totally invalidated if we don't come back below the trendline breakout and we just keep pushing higher, in which case the indicator will cement this as the low. We're already positioned for that, and we may even think about adding some more crypto stocks in the level 3 member section if we feel the need to do so. So that's pretty much the read. That's pretty much where the cycles are at this current moment in time. And the rest is just a case of letting the CPI data come out, unless it's extreme in one direction or the other. Okay, so we're forecasting 2.8% for headline CPI. If this was to come in at 3.8, then I think we could say, okay, that's kind of a surprise. That's probably going to rock everything. That's going to rock the boat a little bit, right? And equally, if it came in at 1.8, that would probably see some big screaming rally, I would think. But anything, you know, plus or minus 0.5%, I think is what it is, and is not really going to be cared about by the market. Okay, so that's my current setup. That's my current read. Expecting kind of a hot-ish print or sticky-ish print for maybe this month, maybe next month as well. And then I think we can start to see disinflation resume. Ultimately, we're early enough in the cycles that we should be able to see higher prices, even if we need a couple of days of chop. And that's that, right? That's all I really have to say. So I will hop into some comments. We'll kill some time until the data is released in about 40 minutes. And we'll go from there. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, that's that. Let me scroll up a bit. How is my sleep these days? Fine. I'm not really a sleeper anyway. so yeah, it's fine. And you can just 4x your creatine dose if you're sleep deprived, and then you're not sleep deprived anymore. So yeah, just go to 20-25 grams creatine and you don't need sleep ever. It's a boy as well. And yeah, everything's good, thank you. I think my wife's quite tired, but it's easier being a dad in these early stages. You don't have to do much. Currently, we're watching Chemo Collab from last year before MSTR was topping. Cool. Yeah, I think the MSTR top is definitely in at this point, but I'm open to everything. Do I expect a cold print? I think we just kind of explained that already. ETH Bitcoin, is it possible to check it? Sure. Right into resistance by the look of it, isn't it? So we'll see. We'll see. Can it break out? I actually don't want it to. Do you know why I don't want it to? If it breaks out here right now and goes on a screaming run, it kind of tells me Bitcoin is going to be in the middle of a topping process, right? And this is like the final rotation, and then the whole cycle's dead. So I think even if you are positioned in Ethereum, want this to outperform, you should probably, for the good of the space, hope it does this a while longer and then goes, because that will give Bitcoin more time to go higher, and therefore Ethereum more rotational gains ahead. But yeah, I don't know. If this thing is going to break out right here, right now, then I think the market in general is probably way closer to a top than most people are ready for. Gold chart looks like ascending triangle, bullish pattern. Yep, I think it's an ABCDE completed. Out of a weekly cycle low. And is the 4 before the major 5 as well. So yeah, I think gold's going to scream up higher pretty soon. Bitcoin yesterday, wick doesn't look great. Yeah, but it doesn't look bad either, right? It doesn't look bad either. And you think we get another low? I would like to see another low. I think that would make the count easier to deal with. Last weekly cycle has 2 inversions. Depends on how you count it, but yes, it does. The question is whether it's lower. Yeah, I agree. You still have a limit at 108. I did say 108. I would be surprised if it went below 108. I think the bottom's probably in, to be honest. But what do I know? You haven't managed. Bitcoin hasn't managed again to close above 120k. Something to think about. Is it though? Is it, brother? I say this with love. Like, if I hide all of this and go on a line chart, right? Let me turn this off as well for clarity. Like, is this a problem? Wait, let me zoom out a bit more. Is this a problem? You know what I mean? Or are you a slave to the tape? Again, I say it out of love, but a lot of people kind of need a slap in the face and to be called a tape slave because, you know, you're not going to make it if you keep worried. You're worrying about the move from 120 to 118.5, right? In the scheme of this, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. There's $100,000 move from the lows. More than $100,000 has been added from the lows to where we are now. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, it's a problem. It can't get above 120. Like, is it a problem though? Do you see what I mean? I don't think it's an issue. So yeah, something to think about. What have I done? Go back. Go back. There we go. Why did they hunt short liquidity to move down? I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm not a liquidity tracker particularly. Fair thesis, thank you. Yeah, I think so. Did they even get the majority of the short licks? I don't know. It's not something I track. Hello, mate. Would be really interested to look at Josh Mandel's theory. I've seen it. 444. I mean, he got the 84 base, right? Run the table sounds cool. I admit, run the tables sounds really cool. But 444, I don't know. It seems like a long way up from here. I think we'd be extremely lucky to get to 300, but 444 seems crazy. Crazier things have happened though. There are now 2 counts. Yep, it's not the first time we've run 2 counts. That's kind of why I was saying earlier I want to see it cancel this low and move to the window inside of the 21st where the green bar is. That's why I want to see that count, because then we can not have to run with 2 counts thereafter. We can just say short account harmonized by long account back to 60-day normality. Makes everything really easy. But if it goes from here, then we have to continue to work with 2 counts, and that's just kind of annoying. You're here for baby Camel's input. He makes a lot of input. They're really noisy. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Wife is good too. Do you watch the quantum computer stocks? Nope, I don't. Have I fallen really far behind? I think I have. I'm doing my best. You have a baby on the way. You're gonna love it. 25 grams creatine into the wise water seems reasonable. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I never thought about that. Spike the wife with creatine. When can we finally sell? I mean, you can tap whenever you want to tap, brother. My feed is now full of Bitcoin and investment videos. Yep. Expect that to keep happening. Expect all the mainstream news and that to put it on as well, I would think. Can I talk about aliens? Not today. Not today. That's bear market stuff. Look, we're pretty close. Okay, we're pretty close to selling, walking away. And then we're going to have a year or more to waste talking about aliens and all that other stuff. So, yeah. How do I explain this gold dip ahead of CPI? I mean, it's not really a dip, is it? If that's what you mean. You mean this. If that's what you mean, then I don't think that's a dip. I think we're still in a range, compressing into a triangle. I think this is just 1 into 2, right? I shouldn't. A, B, C, D, E, as I've been saying, 1, 2, and then we're going to go 3, 4, 5 out of here. That's what I think. Camel, I risk 1% and my account grows to size of 105% if I had a trade. Is it 1.05 now? No, 1%. 1%. Just keep it at 1% of whatever the total value is of your account. Do you think if Bitcoin tops, alt season will start? Could do. I mean, that's historically what we've seen, isn't it? I still think, and my base case is not yet invalidated, that a handful of alts are going to do extremely well, and most of them are not going to do that well. That's what I think. So, depends what you mean by alt season. If you mean pretty much all of the top 200 or 300 are going to go and do 10x after Bitcoin tops, then no, I don't think that's true. But if maybe 20 of them go and do 5 to 10x after Bitcoin tops, then yeah, I think that could happen for sure. Long and chilling. Good. Sounds great. Small cap gold miners are worth looking into. It's up to you. I don't know what your risk tolerance or profile is. Do I think XRP chart is showing weakness? I don't know. I haven't looked at it in ages. It kind of looks... Come here. Yeah, I tell you what I don't like about this. There's one thing I really don't like about this chart. So it had all this like big move up and then a big consolidation. in my opinion, my humble opinion, this would have been the moment for it to explode higher. I really don't like the fact it made a marginal higher high here and then has done this. Because if it continues to move down like this yellow squiggle, this will just be textbook distribution, up thrust and die, or whatever this. Is that the... Can someone tell me? Up thrust and die? Nah, up thrust after distribution, I think. Mine sounds cooler though. Up thrust and die. Yeah, anyway, it will just look a lot like Wyckoff distribution to me, with the up thrust before, then last point of support down here, and then it will mark down campaign, right? That's kind of what it looks like right now. Now, of course, it could be that we've just done this, and now we're going to do this. Fine, happy days. But to me, that was kind of the moment to get a significant higher high, and we didn't. Marginal higher highs are not normally a good looking thing. Like, it's normally not what you want to see, because when you get a marginal higher high, it speaks to just grabbing the lick here before then marking it down again. So there, that's all I can really say, right? That's all I can really say. I don't really know anything else other than that. Bitcoin Euro hasn't even made a new high. Yeah, but then look at the Dixie, right? Because the Dixie's done this, hasn't it? So, you know, it's not going to. Is it? I mean, what is the Euro? 56, 57% of the Dixie? And the Dixie's done this. So, but then think about it the other way, right? The silver lining for that is eventually, whether it's soon or later, the Dixie will turn and make a run to the upside, right? Even if we have to wait all the way to next year for deflation for that to happen, when it does, that means in the bear market, the Bitcoin Euro pair will have significantly less drawdown priced in euros as this reverses. We don't hear much about the bank's problems with underwater treasuries. Is that not an issue anymore? Don't know. It's a good point. Haven't heard anything about that. I'll look into that actually. Low and one final go, that would be nice. Why would the current short cycle not equalize a future long cycle end in, say, October? It could do. It could do. But we've already kind of done it, right? That's the thing. We had a shorter cycle, then a longer cycle. If we're going to have a shorter cycle here, then are we going to get a longer cycle next? Weirder things have happened. It could be that. Into the weekly cycle low. Where did that take us? If we did, say, another 75 or 70, yeah, into October for the weekly cycle low, could be. Or maybe, actually, I'd be thinking if it did a longer cycle from here, it would probably be the top. Who knows, though, right? Who knows? Letting retail in now with talk of ETFs being open. Yeah, you know what else actually that fits with that October time frame? In the UK, they're letting what do you call it? They're letting retail use ETNs or ETPs for Bitcoin. But they're not allowed to touch them until October, which to me just reeks of having exit liquidity for the institutions to sell into. It's the same with the 401ks thing, right? Those people are going to be allowed to buy Bitcoin or some sort of Bitcoin derivative in the 401ks. It just feels like BlackRock has bought a bunch of Bitcoin down here, yeah, marked it up to north of 100k, and is now like, well, there's no retail here to sell it to, right? There's a handful of retail. They're all in altcoins. They're mostly losing their money in altcoins. They ain't got enough money to buy our bags. So what are we going to do about this? Oh, I know. We'll sell it to the boomers in the pension accounts, right? That's how it feels to me. There just isn't the amount of retail mania that there once was. And the retail is now super concerned with meme coins and, you know, these other alts that they're not going to come here and buy BlackRock's bags. That's what I mean. It just feels like they were like, oh, where are we going to get this exit liquidity? Oh, I know. We'll raid the pension accounts, right? That's what it feels like. I'm so far behind. I'm always so far behind. Would I move the stop loss up from 74k? Well, 74k is the weekly cycle, so this is hard invalidation for the bull market. And then if you want to use the daily cycles for short-term trades, you can use those as invalidation. We probably shouldn't be trading below my stop at 98,222. Can I look at the Dixie? Yeah, we've already done that. Is it likely to run for another 2 to 3 daily cycles? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Take a look at the bear market. What? Bitcoin market cap divided by M1 real. Yeah, I know what it looks like. I don't have to look at that. Do you ever open any hedge shorts? Occasionally, but not really. It's not really my style. As we get close to the end, it gets more volatile. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Camel, we've been calling for a recession and top in equity markets since last year. Do you think it could extend to Q1, Q2? I mean, it could do. It's a non-zero probability, right? It's a non-zero probability. Our job is really just to observe what's going on, which we do every weekend at the Weekend's Deep Dive. And every weekend, stuff is gradually, slowly but surely moving towards recession. So we continue to stick with that. And we haven't jeeted the bags or called the top and gone max short, right? We've enabled the TA and the cycles to keep us in. And we're going to keep doing that until such time as the TA and the cycle says time to leave. And I suspect when the TA says that, we will already be in recession. Could it run for more time? Yeah, it could always run for more time. But I don't think that's a smart bet, right? Bitcoin's 4-year cycle is the most consistent cycle out of any asset class I've ever seen. So would you bet that there's not going to be a daily cycle low coming up in the next window for any given asset? You wouldn't probably be smart to take that bet. Would you bet that there's just going to be completely absent of a weekly cycle for gold in the next weekly cycle window? No. So why suddenly is everyone betting that there's just not going to be a 4-year cycle low on the asset that is the most consistent across all assets? You know? So where the top comes, yeah, the top can move for sure. The top can easily move, but who cares really? I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right. And look at the sentiment as well. Everyone is moving the goalpost. Every man and his dog is now calling for longer cycles, extended cycles, no bear markets. I mean, if you want to be on the crowded side of the trade, the CNBC is pushing that very narrative, then by all means do. But it's just not for me. Look at Metallicus. I don't know what that is. Sorry, bro. Baby camel still has a baby cry. You'll know when it changes. Okay, noted. The cry's actually not that bad of a newborn. I think it's quite quiet. There's some like 1 and 2 and 3 year olds in the family, and they hurt my ears way more than the newborn. What's my prediction on UK interest rates over the next 18 months? Slashed to 0, and then after the next round of printing, up beyond 12, 15%. Where do you expect the next week to cycle over for Bitcoin to come, if 22nd of August? I don't think it's going to move around too much. I think the window is pretty much the same. Crack pipe CPI Tuesday. Yeah, how long we got? About 20 minutes. Sounds like I'm already so done with the baby stuff. Nah, I'm like neutral to bullish on babies. Neutral to bullish on babies. But I think one thing I wasn't really ready for is I expected to have some role to play, but in this newborn phase, like they just feed from mum and then they sleep, and so I can carry around a sleeping baby. It's like great, well done Camel, carrying around a sleeping baby. Or right, you can pick it up and it cries and then tries to suck milk from me, and I'm like, well, bro, I ain't got no milk for you. Stop with all this fruity stuff. And I'm like, here you go, wife. He wants you again. So like as a dad to a newborn, there's like nothing to do. There's literally nothing to do apart from look after my wife. So yeah, until he gets a bit bigger and has some requirement for a father, then you're just kind of like a bystander at this moment. So yeah, I'm not over it. I just now's not the time to be bullish. You know, we got to wait for a breakout in growth and brain development, and then we could be max long. Baby camels equally balance their input and output. Yeah, they do. They do. But that's okay. Are you going to be doing the baby camel ISA? Yes, I am. My son is not even registered yet. We're going to get that. We're going to get him registered. I think it's either tomorrow or Friday. So yeah, then we can go and officially register him with the government and make sure he's a legal citizen. And then from there, I guess I can open the ISA and do the JISA series. So I'll give me a couple of weeks and we'll sort it out. But yes, it is coming. CPI news means more sideways. It might. How am I feeling about ETH? Neutral ETH, no position. Are we closing the CME gap today? I don't even know where the CME gap is, to be honest. Do I work out? Yep, I do nearly every day. Please pull out BNB chart. Nah. Regarding the VIX trade, do your own research, please. Yes, you'd love to see BNB analysis. Wow, fine. It's mostly ignored. What's the read on Riot right now? No changes to Riot and BNB. BNB looks like a good chart, actually, doesn't it? Just keeps ripping. Where's... Oh, goodness me, this is a bit messy. Hang on, let's... What we got? Wait, is this on... Was this Once Upon a Time on log? I don't know. Alright, we'll take it off log. We'll put this here and here. Yep. And then I think we'll go from here to here. I don't know. Feel like I'm reaching a bit. Up there and then up there, roughly. I mean, I guess if you're an altcoiner, this is what you're here for, right? This is the party zone. So can it just keep grinding higher for a bit more? And can you sell on the final angle violation? I mean, that's a pretty nice looking chart, isn't it? You can't really say anything other than that. Look at this big ass range break as well. Draw it like something like this. That's pretty nice too. So yeah, higher, I reckon, don't you? A lot higher. I don't think Riot has topped, no. The good side of the euro is in a bull market. Yeah. Tau. Bruh. Since you paid for it, you can have it. $20 is $20, right? Breakout retest resumption? Looks like it. Let's see. This is more what I was expecting altcoin charts to look like. Binance looks fantastic. I don't know, man. I don't know. What am I supposed to do with this? I think if it loses this one, I'd be kind of thinking something's wrong. If it can get above that one as well, then it's probably on big time. But can it? I don't know. What about the cycles? Cycles look pretty clean, don't they? Should be about to find a cycle low and go. Maybe, hopefully, if it can do it. How's the no smoking journey going? Actually really easy. I've quit a bunch of times before. And yeah, this was probably the easiest, I would say. I went cold turkey at 3:30 in the morning. So I smoked my last cigarette Friday at about 11:30 at night. And then my wife's waters broke at 3:30 and she woke me up. And I went cold, so I woke up there and at 3:30 and I haven't smoked since. So I just went cold turkey straight into a 23-hour labor. And yeah, 4 days in hospital. It's fine. It's easy. It's easy. A little piece of my soul dies because I miss it, but yeah, it's easy to quit. What do I suggest? So what you suggest is that if you're in the EU, it's best to rotate into dollars. I don't know if I suggested that, but I think I implied that. Are you going to hop back into DJT? Don't think so. I haven't looked at it. Nah, not yet. Ben Cohen mentioned Bitcoin historically always had July and August green. Okay. You're out in October. Yeah, I kind of feel the same, to be honest. I think that's probably the best way to go. I've lost my place. I'm so far behind. A champion's motive has been a member for 10 months. You might have missed it, but is there a clean count from 10.3 to 10.11.4? It was a weekly cycle low inversion, followed by two 59-day counts since. Yes, there is. This is an alternative count. I think Andrew has this, actually. Yeah, I think Andrew has pointed to this. there are many counts. That's kind of why I was saying earlier I want this thing to clean itself up, form a low in here and go, because then everything will be back to normal. But at the moment it's kind of jank, isn't it? 15 minutes. Are you taking a full siesta from trading during the bear market? No, not at all. No. According to Grok, Grok is brain dead, bro. Grok can't give me a single correct answer every time I interrogate it. So yeah, stablecoin issuance and supply leverage. Yep. Treasury doing. Yep. BlackRock has no bags, brother. Yes, it does. It has lots of bags. It even buys its own ETF. Come on, Andy. It's 2025. 146k mid-October, maybe, who knows. How do I fine-tune the camel indicator? Go on the website and look at the tutorial. It's all in there. Am I a father? Yes, for a week and a couple of days. Since Saturday the 3rd. This is your first cycle, just started cycle trading this year. Nice. Do I set 1 Bitcoin away for my kid? Nah, not really. I haven't done that yet. To be honest, that JISA series, I don't even know if I want to give him the money from it. To be honest, with you, I kind of want my kids to grow up like I did. I want them to be hungry. And I think if you just like, here you go, son, here's $250 million in a JISA that I traded for you over 18 years. Like, what's he going to, you know what I mean? It's already bad enough that, I mean, he's going to have to learn to manage some stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We are going to trade the JISA, but hopefully I'm just going to take that money for myself when he turns 18, because he doesn't need it. He can go and earn his own money. He's going to one day inherit a fortune anyway, but yeah, we'll see. Use frequency sounds. Okay, maybe. It's really not that bad. It's really not that bad so far. He just wants to eat and then sleep. We can try the swaddle. Yeah, it's pretty hot here at the moment though. So I think swaddling would be better when it was colder. It gets much more interesting from the paternal. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, like I said, neutral to bullish for the first 6 months. And then what's the baby count forecast? I would like a bunch of them, but I don't know. The whole pregnancy thing's pretty intense on your wife. So I don't know. When and where should we take profits on SILJ? When it breaks down. I'm double long, triple long SILJ actually, so I will let you know when I sell. Max long babies. Yeah, pretty much. A bloke at the gym was telling me if you put them on formula, then you can say it says to put 5 scoops in a bottle. You can put 6 in there, and they call it getting milk drunk, and then it makes them sleep loads. Apparently, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. Me and the wife are quite natural with this kind of stuff. We try and go as natural as possible, but yeah, we'll see. Babies sound easy. They're easy if you're if you're the man. If you're the woman, it looks pretty tiring. Yeah, sounds good. I currently have an unregistered baby. Yeah, I do. Which is pretty normal, apparently, for a few weeks. Where's the next weekly cycle low for Bitcoin? I suspect around September or October. Am I adding circle? Nah, not until the 4-year cycle low. And maybe not even then. KYC for baby camel. Yeah, exactly. Calisthenics versus gym. Which one do you prefer? It's kind of apples and oranges, right? One's functional strength and one will just make you big. Can you break down the basis for S&P 500? Hyperwave. I'm not really sure what you mean by basis, but it's in a hyperwave. Well, it could be in a hyperwave. It could also be in a parabolic blow off top that we've misidentified as a hyperwave. But if it's in a hyperwave, then it will meet the rise over run requirements and crash back down to phase 1. And if it's just in a parabolic blow off top that looks like a hyperwave, then it will just violate spectacularly to the downside, but not necessarily go all the way back to phase 1. Yeah, PLTR is indeed in a hyperwave. Any hope for CLSK? Yeah, it's been doing pretty well, I thought. The moment when you hung that chart, the left translated cycle in your office, it's still there. It's literally still there. Did I have more moments like this? No, it's the only one on there. It's the only one on there. There's a bunch of whiteboard scribbles that say things like coffee long, seasonal this, seasonal short, whatever. But yeah, no, they're just like scribblings that I tend not to even look at, to be honest with you. Can you take a look at the Bitcoin CME chart? Nah, why? For the gaps, because all gaps fill, bro. Camel in the cradle and the silver spoon. Yep. How many minutes we got? 8 minutes. Okay. Can I do ADA? I'll do ADA for the lols, because I know this is going to look like I know this is going to look like a dead chart, right? I mean, it looks slightly better than I thought it would. And actually, if I'm being honest, it kind of looks suspiciously like it's working on a range break here. So, I don't know. But has it outperformed Bitcoin? Good grief. Bruh. No. No, it hasn't. That was a rather long labour. Yeah, it was. 23 hours was intense. Yeah. And it was boring as well. Does baby look more like a bull bear or a camel? It looks like a little alien, to be honest. You should do a speaking tour. Not sure about that. No vaping. Nah, no vaping. Nah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I've heard a few people say they get more addicted to the vaping than the cigarettes. Plus, you know, like all the fruitiness is fruity. What broker do I use? No comment. Bullish on babies. Yep. Your son was also born. Ah, congratulations, brother. Head short. I don't know, bro. My brain hurts reading some of these comments, I swear. 23 minutes past. Okay, I was thinking about the JISA. Don't want to be giving your son... Yeah, I know. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, do you really want to raise a trust fund baby? I know some people would say they want to give their kids the world. And I know some people in my position would say, well, I grew up with nothing, so I want to give them everything. But, you know, I can remember a bunch of parents that had money when I was growing up, and their kids were not at all hungry and were quite depressed later in life, and many of them still have not got a job. And I just like, nah, bro, like, nah, he can build his own empire. I mean, one day I'm going to die, right? And then he's going to end up with some money anyway. So, like, it's not like he's ever going to want for anything particularly. But I would rather him want for something whilst I'm watching him struggle, if that makes sense. And then when I'm not there, he's not going to struggle. So I know he's taken care of. But I don't know if I just agree with giving an 18-year-old, especially with my genetics, okay? If you gave 18-year-old Camel, or even 25, or even 30-year-old Camel a heap of money, life would not have been that good for Camel. So yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see how responsible he is. We'll see how good of a job I do at raising him. But yeah, the JISA series, I mean, it's tax-free money, right? I'm only going to have to give that money to the government. So I might as well stick it in a JISA and trade it. And it'll be a fun series, I think. It'll be funny. Because I won't have to be as tight with risk management, because it's kind of like free money and it doesn't really matter if we lose it. So you know, we could do the same thing as we always do, or we could maybe take, I mean, I'm not going to full degen it, don't get me wrong. Like, we have to still manage risk, because we don't just want to blow up the 10k or 9k, whatever it is, and then have to wait a year before we can fund it with another 9k. So we do want to actually, you know, win, right? We do want to actually manage risk to some degree, but I think we can be a little more sloppy than ordinarily I would be, just because he doesn't need the money and it's free, like I said. So yeah, we'll call it degen, but relative to most people, it won't actually be degen. It will be quite well controlled, I would have thought. What's the FOMO indicator saying? I haven't seen it. Should we have a quick look? What's the castle real estate market like? I don't know. It depends where in the country you are, I think. You can buy some castles for a lot of money here in the UK, and in some areas you can buy some castles for not a lot of money. Does the subscription to the website include YouTube One? Note the two separate services. Don't OD your baby on formula. Yeah, I didn't say I would. I didn't. Yeah, straight from the tap. Yeah, I agree. But I thought it was funny that some of the guys at the gym were telling me that that's how they got their sleep and recovery. And the midwife as well said it's impossible to overfeed them from breast milk, but I think it's quite easy to make your baby fat if you are using formula, especially if you put in 6 scoops instead of 5. So calisthenics is fire. Yep, super impressive to watch. Everybody is a pediatrician. When is the next weekly cycle? How many times are you going to ask that, or do I keep reading the same thing? I'm sure I've answered this like 3 times. Do I smoke cigarettes? No, not anymore. I do miss them every day though. What are we waiting for today? I don't know. We're waiting 3 minutes for some CPI data, so we can say, oh, there you go, bit sticky as expected. And then we'll go away and wait for the volatility to settle, right? Do I ever follow Hood? I've checked in on it a few times, yeah. Welcome to the new members. You've been a member for 17 months. Damn. Razor Boy is a little lean. Best compliment I got was 19-year-old thanked me for not giving him everything he wanted, because he started to recognize how, yeah, I think that's the best way. And I think anyone that's grown up extremely poor will probably resonate with that as well. So yeah, that's going to be my approach for now, at least. Do you have 3 typical examples of completed? Any 3 typical examples? There's a whole video on Hyperwave, so you can go and check that out. FOMO Finder is balanced, by the way. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can see that, right? Yeah. So looking good, I say it's looking good. Lol, Ada. 2 minutes until CPI data. See if I can catch up as we get there. Dear Camel, will Riot draw down a lot if Bitcoin goes down further? Possibly. Yep, it's a higher beta asset, so it's expected to do that. How many weeks or months after Bitcoin top should we expect a top for altcoin? Historically, I think it's anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. Any conspiracy theories that I've been interested in? No, not really. I kind of got bored of conspiracy theories. I kind of came to the conclusion most of them aren't even conspiracies, they're just like real. Can I have a look at DOT? Nah, sorry, bro. When is the gold yearly half cycle low due? I would think around the same time as Bitcoin's in the S&P 500s. You hate the fruitiness, sweetness too. Yeah. Do you think it's a good time to buy a house in the UK for a first-time buyer? I don't know. Okay, this is not financial advice, but if I was a first-time buyer, I would wait probably about 12 months. You know how I would do it? I would wait to see where the Bank of England pivots from cutting interest rates, which is what it's currently doing. At some point, it will get to a point where it will pause. I suspect around 0%. And when it pauses, what normally comes after the pause is more hikes. And I would wait for that pause if it was me, and then buy a house on the pause, and I would lock in that rate for 30 years. That's what I would do. Don't do a 2 or 5 year fixed. I would do a 30-year lock-in, or a 20-year, or a 25, whatever you're going to do. But lock in those 0 interest rates for as long as you can physically do it. And again, this is not financial advice. And if you listen to what I say, then you are probably a fool. But if you're asking me what I would do if I was hypothetically a first-time buyer, that is probably what I would do. How long did it take me to be a profitable trader? It took me 4 years. It took me 4 years. But I'm a slow learner. California Beach. I don't know. I don't think that's my vibe. Appreciate the offer, though. Let them earn it. They will respect it. Yep, I agree. How are we doing for time? Okay, I think we're a bit late. Let's do this. CPI. Oh, we got it. We got it in our indicator. Is this? Yeah, 2.7, right? Damn. All right, 2.7. How cool is that, mate? I should have thought about this actually. Why is it not loading? I swear it always glitches out, doesn't it? So that's actually kind of in line. That's not that bad. Come on, brother. Let this load. Read a few more comments. Do I want more children? Yeah, I do. I want I think 5 is the upper limit. And then you could buy a 7-seater car and they all fit in there. After 5, I think it becomes logistically difficult. Just be balanced. Yeah, well, they're already going to be extremely privileged. So I'm trying to counteract that privilege by not giving them too much, you know. Oh, I'm so lost. Here we go. Gold is pumping CPI, yeah. But I mean, remember, there's always a knee-jerk reaction. 0.2, 3.1, 0.3. Oh, I forgot all of that. 0.2, 3.1. 0.2, 3.1. 0.3. Cool. Post that. Actually, let me check and make sure my baby brain's not a thing. 2.7, 0.2, 3.1, 0.3. Cool. Post. So let's have a quick look at this. Hot. 2.7. Okay. In line. Slightly colder than forecast. Nothing really, 0.1% amongst friends. No one cares. Month over month. In line. 3.1. Slightly sticky. But again, not enough for anyone to care. And 0.3 in line with the forecast. So, yeah, I would say a pretty neutral print. We'll take an initial look at the stock market. Bitcoin has popped up a little bit, but nothing to really write home about. Gold pumping, is it? What? Man, you guys need to get off the 1 minute chart. Yeah, no reaction for gold. No real reaction for Bitcoin as of yet. VIX getting crushed, okay? So that should probably be conducive to higher stock market prices. But remember, as I said a million times, but it is super important, right? Don't get chopped up by the volatility. We often get up, down, up, right? And we often get down, up, down. And no matter what happens today and tomorrow, it's the weekly close that really is important, as always. So initial reaction, pretty neutral, which makes sense because this is pretty neutral, isn't it? So yeah. So that's that. I'll hang around and try and... I know there's some people that have donated some stuff. Wait, let me go and find that. Fan funding, what we got? Now that Trump controls all the data... Bro, does he? Does he? We will have 10% inflation and add 1 billion jobs. Speculative at best, I would suggest. But thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. So yeah, okay. Go for a cool half dozen. Yeah, but then like how am I going to fit them in the car, you know? How many years have I been a trader, including those 4 years? 15. I'm coming up 16 years. Coming up 16 years. Core increase. Yeah, but not enough to know. Like, 0.1% does not count, right? That doesn't count. That's still in line, I think, in my humble opinion. 225k by Friday. Yeah, I think you're right. That makes that makes absolute sense, doesn't it? So yeah. Also, notice how the real time data was there. So shout out to the team for that. They managed to scrape that faster than Financial Juice did, which is cool. I might speak to them about getting the rest of these numbers for a setting we can add maybe. But yeah, this indicator just keeps getting better and better. Insane. Yeah, see, already we've given back that pump. Quote, pump. Gold is back to nothing. Yeah, you know, this is going to keep happening, right? So anyway, I think that seems like a reasonable place to stop. I'll hang around for just a couple more moments and see what's going on. Nah, 225k by Friday sounds perfect. You know, that sounds perfect. Hello, Will. Stagflation? Nah, not yet. Maybe. I've been a trader your whole life. Are you only 16? If you've only just started at 16, brother, please take my advice, okay? Focus on risk management. Put your entire focus on risk management and going slow, because the amount of additional compounding you can get in your account for having started so young is a real cheat code for life. So a lot of 16-year-olds will probably not even think about money, to be honest, okay? Or if they do, they'll be thinking about trying to make it quick. But if you're in this market and you can put the focus on discipline, strategy, and most importantly, managing risk, then you could easily be a billionaire later in your life, okay? That's not hyperbole. That's just focus on that, right? So yeah, have a think about it. Play around with a compound interest calculator. You'll see what I mean. His ethnicity is pygmy. Like, how do we always descend into into degeneracy? Gold ripping. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely ripping. Nothing burger. It seems for now, right? But once the market opens, it will chop around a bit, wreck a bunch of people that are tape slaves. And then, yeah, we'll see by the end of the week, right? We'll see. At 16, you were searching for the cheapest liquor. Yeah, okay, yeah. How do I feel about lack of free speech? Wow, how do you think I feel, right? How do you think I feel? To be honest, though, it's not something I'm paying attention to. I actually almost don't believe it as well. I actually almost don't really subscribe to it. Like, I think on the news it looks that way, but I kind of think they're just trying to wind people up. I'm not really convinced much bad can happen to you. Although, with that said, there are some people in jail. So who knows, really? Who knows? It just, my brain can't really comprehend it, to be honest with you. I don't know. But again, it's not something I pay a lot of attention to. I don't really pay attention to anything outside of markets. You got to keep that in mind. Losing everything once or twice is good. Yeah, I agree too. How do you learn to manage risk? Start with the risk management and leverage tutorial in the tutorial playlist. It's actually very simple to understand. It's just very difficult to do. It's kind of like saying, how do I get really, really, really jacked, right? Everyone knows the answer, okay? Like, eat a good diet conducive to making gains and train for an hour a day. Hard, really hard, very consistently for 10 years, right? Super easy, but why can't most people do it? Because it takes a great deal of discipline to actually stick to that. And trading is no different, right? It's very easy. You need a simple edge that gives you a mathematical advantage over the market. You need to manage risk every single trade without fail every single time. And you need to repeat that for 10 years. And then you will be stinking rich and one of the best traders on the planet. But for some reason, 90% of the planet cannot achieve that. Even if you give them a winning strategy and tell them how to manage risk, they will still fall flat on their face because they can't help themselves. They're degenerate gamblers, and just like they can't go to the gym and build, lean mass and have abs, okay, and be strong, just like they can't do that, they also can't manage risk and be a pro trader. So the only thing that's standing in the way is you, right? You can be big if you want to be big. You can have a 6-pack if you want to have a 6-pack, and you can be an elite level trader if you really want to be. Bitcoin dominance, go on. I'm actually curious. Normally I'd ignore this. Still nothing. Do me a favor, okay? Don't talk to me about Bitcoin dominance. I'm not talking to you personally, whoever just asked this. I'm talking to everyone in aggregate. Please don't talk to me about Bitcoin dominance until either we've cleared this high or we've convincingly broken down on a daily closing basis. Then we can talk. Modafinil, I don't know what that is. And brometane. Yeah, but you have... What? Yeah, but you have the possibility to pull out the magic needle and you're jack. Not... I don't know what you're talking about, sorry. Really appreciate the content. Considering to subscribe for a membership account. Could you unlock one of your old member vids? There is an unlocked one. You can go and find it. Just type in like free sample or something. Okay, right. I think that's enough. ETH keeps going. Alt season starting. Maybe. We'll see. Let's give it a few days. Let's see. Let's assess at the end of the week, I think. You missed it the first time, so say it louder. ETH is pumping. Yeah, but everyone keeps saying everything's pumping. And, okay, 4% is pumping a little bit. And it is breaking to new highs. Okay, fine. Everyone keeps saying things are pumping, they're not. But this actually does look pretty good, doesn't it? It's clearly above here. So this is like the final hurdle at, what, 4,800? And then it opens up like 6 to 8K, doesn't it? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll see. Right, we'll see. Do you think working out helps you trading discipline-wise? Not really. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. It's kind of like smoking, right? Like I had people reach out to me and be like, oh, yeah, you know, quitting smoke is the hardest thing I've ever done, blah, blah, blah. But I just quit cold turkey and I'm good, you know? And I'm not saying like I'm a Navy SEAL. I'm not saying that at all, okay? Not even close. But if you take a Navy SEAL, and I'm just picking that as an example because they've got unbreakable minds, right? A Navy SEAL would be an elite level trader very easily because they are conditioned. They're like hardwired to like, what is the task? We carry out the task. Failure is not an option, right? We're just going to do it. Doesn't matter how much discomfort is experienced. Doesn't matter like what things get in the way, what hurdles there are to clear, right? A Navy SEAL would be an elite level trader all day long because they've got an unbreakable mind. So I don't know if it's like building, I don't know if it's like the discipline or whatever that comes with working out, but like if you're going to be a trader that can always be disciplined and manage risk, then things like quitting smoking or working out every day should be really, really easy for you, right? Like it's not hard for me to work out every day. It's not hard for me to quit smoking cold turkey because I've got discipline in the mind. And, you know, if you can't quit smoking cold turkey or you can't show up to the gym 5 days a week at least, right? Or you can't like not eat the extra pizza and biscuits in the evening, then you're probably not going to be a good trader, right? It's just kind of how it works. Like, why do you think you're going to be extremely disciplined in one area of life, but lack discipline in all other areas? You know, it just doesn't really work like that. So, you know, I would say if you want to be serious about trading, then learn to craft the iron mind, the Navy SEAL type stuff where like you're going to die or you're going to win and there's nothing else, right? There's literally like failure is not an option. You need to have that. And if you're already a Navy SEAL and you're like, maybe I should try this trading stuff out, then I would say do it right now, immediately, right? And you're going to find this so easy. Like, so yeah, maybe think about it like that. Other than that, I'm going to love you all and leave you. No, don't do steroids, please. I just got a glimpse. Yeah, steroids of trade. Oh, okay. Steroids of trade. I don't know what that means, but don't do steroids. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. And we'll be back tomorrow, right? We will be back tomorrow. In the meantime, craft that Navy SEAL mind and yeah, be good at trading. Until then, lots of love. Cheers. Bye.